Sound 1 1 2 1 2.
Sound check 1 2. Testing for sound 1 2 1 2. जपो निरंतन नाम तिहारा, जपो निरंतन नाम तिहारा। अब नहीं छोड़ो तेरा द्वारा, अब नहीं छोड़ो तेरा द्वारा। राम भक्त मोहे शरण मिली जे, राम भक्त मोहे शरण मिली जे। भव सागर से तार पवन सुत विनती बारंबार, पवन सुत विनती बारंबार। हे दुर्ग भंजन मारुति नंदन, सुन लो मेरी पुकार। पवन सुत विनती बारंबार, पवन सुत विनती बारंबार। अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता, अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता। दुखियों के तुम भाग्य विधाता, दुखियों के तुम भाग्य विधाता। सिया राम के काज सवारे, सिया राम के काज सवारे। मेरा करो उद्धार, पवन सुत विनती बारंबार, पवन सुत विनती बारंबार। हे दुख भंजन मारुति नंदन, सुन लो मेरी पुकार। पवन सुत विनती बारंबार, पवन बोलो राम श्री राम, बोलो राम जय जय राम। श्री राम तुम्हारे मंदिर में मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। श्री राम तुम्हारे मंदिर में मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। श्री राम तुम्हारे मंदिर में मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। नीरस सुनी जीवन में मन के अंधेरे होने में। नीरस सुनी जीवन में मन के अंधेरे होने में। सांसों की उजले आशा में शुभ ज्योति जलाने आया हूँ। श्री राम तुम्हारे मंदिर में मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। पूजन विधि विना नहीं और सिमरन साधन ध्यान नहीं। पूजन विधि विना नहीं और सिमरन साधन ध्यान नहीं। आई अच्छी भक्ति सुगंध भरी तो पुष्प चढ़ाने आया हूँ। श्री राम तुम्हारे मंदिर में मैं दीप जलाने आया हूँ। मुझे राग और गीत का ज्ञान नहीं। मुझे ताल सुनो का दान नहीं। मुझे राग और गीत का ज्ञान नहीं। मुझे ताल सुनो का दान नहीं। आई अपने हृदय की तारों की झनकार सुनाने आया हूँ। बोलो राम श्री राम, बोलो राम जय जय राम। श्री राम
राम दुलारी आन परायब तेरे द्वारे। हे बजरंग बली हनुमान, हे महावीर करे कल्याण। हे महावीर करे कल्याण। मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे आन परायब तेरे द्वारे। हे बजरंग बली हनुमान, हे महावीर करो कल्याण। हे महावीर करो कल्याण, करो कल्याण। तीनों लोक तेरा उजियारा, दुखियों का तूने काज सवारा। तीनों लोक तेरा उजियारा, दुखियों का तूने काज सवारा। हे जगवंदन केसरी नंदन, हे जगवंदन केसरी नंदन। कष्ट हरो है कृपा निधान, कष्ट हरो है कृपा निधान। मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे आन परायब तेरे द्वारे। हे बजरंग बली हनुमान, हे महावीर करो कल्याण। हे महावीर करो कल्याण। तेरे द्वारे जो भी आया, काल नहीं कोई लौटाया। तेरे द्वारे जो भी आया, काल नहीं कोई लौटाया। दुर्गम काज बना बनहारे, दुर्गम काज बना बनहारे। मंगल में दो वरदान, मंगल में दो वरदान। मंगल मूर्ति राम दुलारे आन परायब तेरे द्वारे। हे बजरंग बली हनुमान, हे महावीर करो कल्याण। हे महावीर करो कल्याण। तेरे सुमिरन हनुमत बीरा, ना सरो हरे सब पीरा। तेरा सुमिरन हनुमत बीरा, ना सरो हरे सब पीरा। राम लखन सीता मन बसिया, राम लखन सीता मन बसिया। दुलारे, आन पराय अब तेरे द्वारे। हे बजरंग बली हनुमान, हे महावीर करो कल्याण, हे महावीर करो कल्याण, करो कल्याण, करो कल्याण।
लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा। लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा। अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, हेरंब हेरंब विघ्नेश्वरा, हेरंब हेरंब विघ्नेश्वरा। लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा। अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, हेरंब हेरंब विघ्नेश्वरा, हेरंब हेरंब विघ्नेश्वरा। लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा। लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, लंबोधरा हे विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा, शिव शंभो कुमारा विघ्नेश्वरा। अंबिकतनया ओंकारेश्वर, अंबिकतनया जिस चाहे ऐसी नहीं मैं, हम तेरी रानी जैसे नहीं मैं, फिर भी हो कैसी कैसी नहीं मैं। कृष्णा मोहे देख तो एक बार कान्हा कान्हा
Sound check, check, 1 2. Sound check, check, 1 1 2 1 2. मोर गिरधर से लगिने ह जगत सब झूठा लागे ना हो जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना मोरे गिरधर से लगी नेहा गिरधर से लगी नेहा गिरधर से लगने है जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना राना कहे मीरा सो की सुनो मेरा बात राना कहे मीरा सो की सुनो मीरा मोरे बात साधु के संगति छोड़ दे मीरा साधु की संगत छोड़ दे मीरा सखियन सब कहु छात जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना मोरे गिरधर से लगी नेहा हाँ गिरधर से लगी नेहा गिरधर से लगी नेहा जगत सब झूठा लागे ना हो जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जहर पियाला राना ने भेजा दी मीरा के हाय जहर पियाला राना ने भेजा जहर पियाला राना ने भेजा दी मीरा के हाथ कृष्ण कृष्ण कही पी गई वो कृष्ण कृष्ण कही पी गई वो रसता के यदुनाथ जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना मोरे गिरधर से लगी नेहा गिरधर से लगी नेहा गिरधर से लगी नेहा जगत सब झूठा लागे ना हो जगत सब झूठा लागे ना जगत सब झूठा लागे ना
Sound check. Jai Shiva Onkara, Jai Shiva Onkara, Jai Shiva Onkara, Bhole meri saas gaay ke zaara, Bhole meri saas gaay ke zaara, Jai Shiva
have a special request from everybody. My dad really likes this chant, right? It's very easy. And when I'm singing like the lead, I want everybody to like loudly try to do the chorus as a backup, right? You'll kind of follow into people who know this song, but please try. It will sound really nice if you'll listen, okay? Thank you.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Harda Harda Bhole, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Harda Harda Bhole, Namah Shivaya, Rameshwara, Shiva Rameshwara, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya, Rameshwara, Shiva Rameshwara, Hara Hara Bhole,
Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya.
Gangadhara, Shiva Gangadhara, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Gangadhara Shiva Gangadhara Har Har Bole Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Shivaya Namah Shivaya.
Jai Sandhara, Shiva Jai Sandhara, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Jatadhara Shiva Jatadhara Har Har Bole Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya.
Someshwara, Shiva Someshwara, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Someshwara Shiva Someshwara Har Har Bole Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya.
Visheshwara, Shiva Visheshwara, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Visheshwara Shiva Vishweshwara Har Har Bole Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Har Har. Namah Shivaya,
Koteshwara, Shiva Koteshwara, Hara Hara Bhole, Namah Shivaya.
Someshwara बोले उमापति महादेव की जय। उनकी कृपा से रामायण कथा को मैं वर्णन कर सकता हूँ। हे गुरुदेव, 12 ही बार आपके चरणों को मैं प्रशंसा करता हूँ, आपके चरणों को मैं वंदना करता हूँ। ब्राह्मण समाज में और ब्राह्मण समाज पंडित लोग, पंडित नरेंद्र महाराज, पंडित रुद्रानंद महाराज और अन्य पंडितगण, आपको मैं प्रणाम। पंडित ब्रह्मानंद योगी महाराज, आपको मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ। साधु साधवाइन लोग, प्रिय मित्र, आपको भी मैं प्रणाम करता हूँ। First and foremost, I pay unreserved respects to the feet of my Guru, my Diksha Guru, Pandit Mahesh Maharaj, whom you all know, who's the father of your Pundit, your Pandit here, Pandit Narine Maharaj, because it is through his tireless, voluntary efforts I can attempt to narrate a Ramayana Katha. I'm eternally grateful for his tuition. I hasten too to the feet of my Vidya Guru, Pandit Sriram Jadunanand Mishra, whose input was also vital in helping me to become a wannabe narrator of Ramayana Katha. On behalf of this temple, we welcome each and every one of you. We accord a special welcome to the Brahmins. Among the Brahmins, the Pandits, Pandit Narendra Maharaj, Pandit Rudranand Maharaj, Pandit Brahmanand Yogi Narine, and all those whom my eyes might have inadvertently missed. A warm welcome to you, because your presence ensures that Katha is not going to be derailed, that Katha is not going to be narrated according to the whims and fancies of the narrator, which is yours truly. We welcome too, hospitably so, the sadhus, people who live the sadhu and sadhmine type of life, because you create the atmosphere for satsang. So we are grateful for your presence. And last but by no means least, every single person who has taken time off to come and bestow greetings to somebody called Vishnu Narine. Appreciation, much appreciated. A special welcome to Video 2 photo and video production by, accompanied with Krishna Maharaj and Kavita Ramcharitar. Through their efforts, they are streaming live, and SPV has a fair handful of judgmen in foreign lands, New York, Canada. Welcome New York, welcome Canada, welcome Florida, and all others to this live stream. It's a pleasure to have everyone join in. Last but by no means least, I pay my respects to the accompanying group. We had lovely bhajan by Isha, by her dad Bobby, by, I can't say Jason Hulda, by Hardika. And of course, Anand, is so good to see you back on with us. And of course, Vishal, and everyone who, I'm not forgetting my niece Sridevi, for all your renditions. Now I don't have to thank you, I have to bless you for your rendition. And Ken and company, Neil, who have put together the PA, I'm grateful to you all. So, without further ado, we stand as we join in Arati, bringing the God of your liking and understanding to your mind as we move into Arati. Arati Shri Rama Janji ki Kirati Kale Kale Siya ki
Arati Shri Ramayana Ji
चारु वेद पुराण अष्टदश छहो शास्त्र सब ग्रंथन को रस जनमन धन संतन को सर्वस कलिमला हरणी विषय रसपी की सुभग सिंगार मुक्ति युवती की हरणी रोग भवनूरी की बोलो रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन सीताराम बोलो जय जय शिवा शिव जानकी राम जय रघुनंदन जय सिया राम बोलो जय जय शिवा शिव जानकी राम बोलो पतित पावन सीताराम बोलो पतित पावन सीताराम एक बार बोलो श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय बोले श्री सरस्वती माता की जय बोले श्री गुरु महाराज की जय उमापति महादेव की जय पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय सियावर रामचंद्र की जय अपने आसन पर बैठिए प्लीज टेक योर respective seats. I also would like to, as equally I have welcomed everyone, I want to extend my warm welcome to the matriarch of my paternal family, Kaks. Good to see you here. Good to have your blessings. My friends Suresh Maharaj and Vidya and Rajiv from RVR Networks, who has been mainly responsible for the live streaming. Blessings to you, Rajiv. And how can I forget my daughters on the keyboard, Kriya, and singing along in chorus to be Swasti. You have always voluntarily accompanied me to that. I bless you eternally. As we begin Katha, I ask you to bring the God of your understanding and liking to your mind. As this little 60 minutes, 75 minutes you spend together in Satsangh will be fruitful indeed. Om Yam Brahma Vedanta Vido Vadanti Param Pradhanam Purusham Tathanye Vishvodgate Karanam Ishramma Tasmai Namo Vigna Vinashanaya Om Pratibham Satsabhayam Cha Vicharaksamatam Shubham Luptam Sarvam Daiva Yogan Navi Bhutam Punaha Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Para Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Om Kunda Indudar Gaur Sundaram Ambika Patim Abhishta Siddhidam Karunika Kalakanjalochanam Naumi Shankaram Anangamochanam Om Hanuman Jani Sunur Vayu Putro Mahabalaha Rameshtaha Phalgun Sakaha Pingaksha Amrita Kramaha Udadhi Kramanastaya Sita Shoka Vinashanaha Lakshmana Pranadata Cha Dasha Grivasya Darpaha Om Shri Ramachandra Charanau Manasa Smarami Shri Ramachandra Charanau Vachasa Prinami Shri Ramachandra Shirasa Namami Shri Ramachandra Sharanam Prapade Boli Siyawar Ramachandra ki jai
Bol Shri Bharat Maharaj ki jai. In our closing invocation, the writer, who is no less a person than that great poet who prepared this text before us, Ramayana, he says, Sri Ramachandra Manasa Smarami. As I go about my daily activities, I take into my mind the form of God as Sri Ramachandra. Sri Ramachandra Charanau Vachasa Grinami. As I speak, I choose my words that will be pleasing, as though if Sri Ramachandra ji were present, he would be pleased to hear the sentiments that I echo. Sri Ramachandra Shirasanamami. Whenever I get the opportunity, I bow to his feet. Sri Ramachandra Sharanam Prapade. At the end of the day, I take refuge at the feet of Sri Ramachandra. And it did come to pass, because he was orphaned at birth. We are talking about the writer Sant Tulsidas. He was orphaned at birth because of, the fear of being born in the nakshatra, in the constellation known as Mula. And look where he ran with life. The pinnacle of writers, as it were. The pinnacle of text, as it were. He was the preparer and the writer of such. That is his power. It's premised on that invocation was made. My eyes have fallen on a very close friend of mine, Polo and family. Good to see you here at short notice. That's a sign of good friendship. Blessings to you. So, we, just to put the mind, we'll hear in the upcoming chant, the mind in a frame that we can sit and stabilize the mind to receive kata. I indulge you in 2 minutes, a chant which you all know, so we can join in. Bhaja Rama Bhaja Man Rama Bhaja Man Rama Bhaja Man Bhavane
Rama bhaj man, Rama bhaj man, Rama bhaj man bhavane.
Shri Ramachandra Kripal Bhaja Man Parana Bhava Bhayadarunam Bhaja Rama Bhaja Man Rama Bhaja
Rama bhaj man bhavane.
Shri Ramachandra Kripal Bhaja Man Parana Bhava Bhayadarunam Nava Kanjalochana Kanja Mukha Kara Kanja Pada Kanjarunam Bhaja
Rama bhaj man, Rama bhaj man, Rama bhaj man bhavane.
Kandarpa Aganita Amita Chabinava Nila Nirara Sundaram Kara Darpa Aganita Amita Chabinava Nila Nirara Bata Pita Manahu Tartaruchi Shri Naumi Jana Kasutavaram Bhaja
Rama bhaj man, Rama bhaj man, Rama bhaj man bhavane.
Shri Krishna Bhaja Man Krishna Bhaja Man Krishna Bhaja Man Bhava Bolo Syamar Ramchandra ki jai. It says Bhaja Rama Bhaja Bhaja Rama Bhaja Bhaja Rama Bhaja Man Bhavare. The mind, Bhavar means the mind has a tendency to wander. So we run at the feet of Sri Ramchandra, take refuge there, that it may be stabilized, to imbibe the writings of Sant Tulsidas, as we hear in our upcoming Duha.
Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare.
Miti hai papa prapancha sava akhila mangala bhara loka suyasha para loka sudha sumirata nama tumhar miti hai papa prapancha sava अखिल अमंगल भार लोक सुयश पर लोक सुख सुमिरत नाम तुम्हारा
हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे
We are at the point in time when Sri Ramchandra, having volunteered himself into exile along with Sita Mata and Sri Lakshman, just days into the forest, Dashrath, as we know, had passed on. And when he passed on, Bharat was beckoned. He was not in Ayodhya at the time, was beckoned to Ayodhya, performed the rites, the Anteshti Karma. And then after pondering, he was despondent because at the end of the day, it seemingly appeared that Sri Ram was exiled because of the word, the boon of Kaikeyi. When she called upon Dashrath, she had two boons, as we all know from the history of Ramayana, two boons from Dashrath. And she called for those two boons, one of which that Sri Ram will go into exile. He volunteered himself. And the other which was that her son Bharat will be heir to the throne. And Bharat became very despondent about that because after being done in his absence, he was never approved of that. And so he pleaded with his Guru Vasishta. And Guru Vasishta, taken in by the sincere appeal of his Shishya Bharat, says, okay, we'll take a hand-chosen entourage and go out into the forest lands and let's see what will happen from there on. So we are at that point in time, at the beginning of Katha, when the party arrived in the presence of Sri Ramchandra, Lakshman and Sita in the forest. And after exchanges, warm exchanges, then Bharat was given the opportunity to speak. Before he so did, Sri Ram made a declaration. And who was Bharat? If we go back to the naming ceremony when the four sons were born, the Chaupai says, Vishwa Bharan Poshan Karajoi Takranam Bharat Asahui. Vishwa Bharan, he who sustains the world, that son came as Bharat. And I take you back into Ramayana. When Shri Ram made the promise that he is going to come on earth, he came as Ram and he said, Ansan Sahit Leena Utara. I will not come alone. I will come with my major projections, who are Brahma the creator, Vishnu the sustainer, and Shiva the dissolver. So the brothers, I don't want to take too long to a long corridor of explanation. Suffice it to say, Bharat was the incarnation of Vishnu, Shatrughna was the incarnation of Brahma, and Lakshman was the projection of Shiva. So those are the answers, the projections he came with. And when we are naming children, we have to, be very choosy, very particular about it. What does Bharat means? Bharat, Bha, is rooted in Sanskrit. You have dhatu and ang, root and ending. Bha is rooted in the word Bhagwan, God. And Rat means attach. He who is attached to God, that is Bharat. A name has a lot to do with it. Because if in a classroom, a teacher keeps condescending on a child, you're not good at maths. And then his or her peers say, you're not good at maths. After a while, that child will feel they really ain't good at maths. So name has a lot to do. When we label people, that has a lot to do with it. So Sanatana Dharma says, be careful when we name people. So Bharat was given that name. He who has unconditional love for the feet of God. That was Bharat. And so it panned out as he went on in life. Bhagwan, what does Bhagwan mean? Bhag means virtues, good qualities, noble qualities. And Wan means a repository, the very home. So Bhagwan means he who we worship, Bhagwan, who is a repository of virtues. And it goes on and on. So this is a Bharat. Sri Ram gets up and stands and addresses that entire Sabha. That Sabha had his Guru Vasishta. It had a warm welcome to the MP for Urupuch West, Surprised but pleasantly so to see you here after a day's torrid undertakings. God's blessings to you. And so Sri Rama just, there was Guru Vasisht, there was Janak, his father and party, and of course there were the Kaushalya, etc. from Ayodhya. And he said, Mitahahi papa prapancha sabha. Pap, if we want to remove sins in the soul, what is sin? If we are accustomed going to Bhagwan and one morning we miss because, the virus take us or whatever, and we just can't make it, that is not a sin, A sin is when we create discomfort to our fellow man and to the environment also. So children, when you're talking to your parents, don't go down to C3 today. I don't like the company you're going with. Don't go up now. Watch how you're training the tongue. Because that if you don't do that, you might say hurtful things, and that is pap. You do the time, you do the crime, you go do the time. Be careful. Don't hurt people. And the environment. You see this slashing and, burning of the forest and so forth. That is, you're creating an imbalance in the atmosphere. That is pap too. So Sri Ramchandraji says, if we want to veer from committing sinful acts, take the name of Bharat. Now this is not rhetoric here, The Katha will unfold and tell you why. Suffice it to say at this point in time, Akhila Amangala Bhar. And everything that is not blessed, Amangal. If you don't want that to come your way, take the name of Bharat. Follow the history of Bharat. Follow the example of Bharat. Loka suyasha para loka sukha. If you want happiness or pleasure rather in this life and in the hereafter, think of Bharat. Follow Bharat. Sumirata Nam Tumhar. Take his name. Let me take the last example. When we all die, we all have to pass on from the stage. It's two visitors we have, It's either or, It's either the attendance of Yamraj or the attendance of Vishnu Bhagwan. Either Vishnu do it or Yam do it. You don't want Yam do it come because that is fire and brimstone. In the scale of life, as far as our actions concerned, when the bad actions outweigh the good actions, don't expect Vishnu Bhagwan and his messengers to come. Is Yamraj coming for we wicked? So, take the name of Bharat, who, as we have established from the quotation, that is Vishnu Bhagwan. Get close to him so that when the hour comes, before we expire, we will clean up the bad actions we have. We will atone for our bad actions. And in that way, we might encourage the blessings of Bhagwan Vishnu to send his attendants at the hour of death. Amangal. Amangal will mean, as we say, things that are not blessed. Ramayana says, Mangal Mool Vipraparitoshu Dahiko Tikulu Bhusaroshu. That a Brahmin is a source of blessings. Now, we're not talking about Fernandez Brahman or KFC Brahman. We're talking about a Karamkandi Brahman. You don't have to born a Brahman, you have to born and live the lifestyle. And having lived the lifestyle, there has to be a humility. If you because you learn 1 or 2 chaupai, or you learn 1 or 2 mantra, you're born a Brahman, that doesn't make you an exemplar, You don't see people pelting a tree that, towering up in the sky. They will pelt at a mango tree because the mango have fruit to offer. And the quality of the mango tree is humble. It cleaves close to ground. It bows down to God to give to you. To eat the mango, to eat the mango. The mango tree to eat the mango is for me and you. And how we respond? We pelt it and mash it up and so forth. And that's what you do. That's a Brahman. You live for the world. You learn and you live for the world by example. And Vishnu Bhagwan is that. Because the son of Bhrigu, the son of Brahma, the creator, known as Bhrigu, one of the sons of Brahma, he at one point in time wondered, among the Trinity, among the creator Brahma, the sustainer Vishnu, the dissolver Shiva, who really has continence, who really full of patience. So he went to Brahma. Brahma was in Dhyan. That's his own father. So he said, how am I going to disturb him? So he go on to Shiva Baba in Dhyan. He said, how am I going to disturb him? And footy, well, if I disturb him, something might happen to me like that happened to Kamdev. Right? And he was Kamdev, why? So he then went to Vishnu Bhagwan. Vishnu Bhagwan was sleeping, or apparently so. And with indignation, he said, what, a Brahman come in, you sleeping? So he took his foot and he put it on Vishnu's chest. When Vishnu stirred, he says, my oh my, I will keep the print of that foot here, because this is indeed a blessing that Brahman, had the touch of a Brahman. Forget the conditions of it. I had the touch of a Brahman foot. And so Bhrigu says, as far as, composure is concerned, in the Trinity, he praises Vishnu Bhagwan. And that is the Vishnu Bhagwan who came as Bharat. And that is the Vishnu Bhagwan who taught the world that, honor the Brahman, the Karmakandi Brahman. Because God, we are not fortunate that in this era we might have an incarnation. Or even self we have one, we may not have the lens to recognize an incarnation. But at least we have the messengers of God to so do. Sri Ram said with his own lips, follow Bharat. The very physical form of Bharat, the mannerisms of Bharat, the principles upheld by Bharat are things to pattern. And so, having made this pronouncement, Sri Ram continues as we hear in the Chaupai.
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram
Jai Rama Jaya
Jai Ram
Kahau Subhaya Satya Shiva Sakti Bharata Bhumi Raha Raghi
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram
तात कुतर का करहु जन जाए वैर प्रेम नहीं दुरय दुराए जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram
And the Lord continues, Sri Ram continues, Kahau Subhaya Satya Shivasaki. He says, with Shiva as my witness, and there is no truer statement than that. Because as we established, hopefully, that in the forest was himself and Lakshman and Sita. Who is Lakshman? Lakshman is a projection of Shiva. So he says, I say, with Shiva as my witness, Bharata Bhumi Raha Rau Rakhi, that the very sustenance of this world depends on Bharat. Tata Kutar Karahu Janik Jai, he says, oh Bharat, don't overthink the situation. Act, come and ask for what you have come here for. Vaira prema nahi durai durai. He says, because if one has a disposition that, you come with enmity, you come with hate, you come with venom, or on the other end of the spectrum, if you come with love, unconditional love, you can't hide and disguise, after a while it comes up. So he tells Bharat, you don't have to worry. I know you didn't come here with any enmity. I know you came here with unconditional love. Powerful statement by Sri Ram. Sri Ram had promised that he will go into exile for 14 years. And here he's turning the table and says, Bharat, you call the shot. And follow the language of Tulsidas. Bharat. Bharat, we talk about sin. Sin being harm. Forget human being. What about the environment? It is said that in the plant kingdom, 3 popular plants. No, let me just go back a little bit. Plants, Junior, they do 2 things. They do photosynthesis and they do respiration. Photosynthesis, they will take in the sunlight and produce the carbon dioxide and then the oxygen and then the vice versa. But in the night, no photosynthesis goes on because there's no sunlight, but it continues to do respiration. So people say, don't put plants in your house, something, or around your house because too much of big plants because they compete with you for the oxygen. Get real, man. The people, the tulsi and the neem, they produce more oxygen in the night. They don't compete. They produce more oxygen. And which tree is known for Vishnu Bhagwan's favorite? The people. So even as far as the environment concerned, honor to Vishnu Bhagwan preserves any transgressions of sin as far as the planned kingdom is concerned. This is the Bharat that Sri Ram is talking about. Anyhow you spin, as he says, it happens. Disasters like flood. You know, if I was living in Urupuch West, and I know I'd had it back in the MP, we'd have take care of that. Because there's a mantra, Om Shri Jalshain Bhagwanaya, that if you take that and reverently offer it in Havan, you can stop the onslaught of flood. Now you might say, well, Rohana doing nothing, and it's true. So how we go stop the flood? You know, how we go stop the flood? Well, you know, flood doesn't come by dewdrops, it comes by torrential rain. And if you understand the art of Havan, what happens is that the cloud cover, when you do those incantations, would not envelop the area of Urupuch West. So there might be flood left, right, and center, but not by you. What, by which name? That name quoted there of Vishnu Bhagwan. You're going to take medicine, all of you have to take it. We gain all this pressure, whatever. Sometimes they lie and tell me we have heart problems too. So, you know, so any people, you take from Panadol, come back. It's Om Hrum Vishnave Namaha, short mantra, deft mantra. That's a form of the Vishnu name. If you take it, it potentiates the action of your medicine. So Sri Ram, when he said he is the sustainer, he knows, I mean, of course he's God. Tulsidas understands and translates what are the ramifications of that. So about this same Vishnu, you know, if you have a beginner Hindu, somebody say, well, you know, Babs, I want to start up. You know, I'm born in Hinduism. Whether you're born or not, it doesn't matter. You could start. And say, Babs, where do I start? There are 5 deities we call Ganesh, Shiva, Durga, Surya, and Vishnu the sustainer. That is the mandatory 5 to start your prayer with. Again, Vishnu Bhagwan is called. You ask Baba, what's the best mantra for Vishnu Bhagwan? The Ashtakshar mantra, the 8-syllable mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya. Attached here, Om Namo Narayanaya Namaha. What have you stomach? Namo, Om Namo. You don't say I make prostration. Look at the Namaha in the end, not because it's in vogue to put Namaha at the end of a mantra. So these are the little secrets that Sri Ram, Tulsidas is passing to the world. Honor that Bharat, because Bharat is Vishnu incarnation and he can do so much, as we hear in the upcoming Chaupai for our life.
Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Muni Ganane Katavi Hangas Gabrahi Badak Badhe Kavi Loki Parahi.
Ram 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 Bolo, Ram Ram Ram, Ram 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 Bolo, Ram Ram Ram.
Hita anahita pashu pakshi ujana manusha tanu guna jnana nidhana.
Jai Ram Shri Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama, Shri Rama Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama.
Sri Ram says, I have observed in your sojourn to come and meet me, Munigan and Nikata Bihangam Rigajahi, Badhaka Badhaka Biloki Parahi, Hita Anahit Pashu Pakshi Jana. That when Bharat was wending his way to Sri Ramchandra, all the deer and the wild animals of the forest came. You know, if you have a little pussycat at home, they do that when you come home, he come and he rubbing up on you. That don't happen. A typical Trinidadian running and walking through the forest, all them manicu looking for Reebok to run. It don't happen so. It's unusual. But Sri Ram says, if the animal kingdom could recognize a sadhu, oh man, fire upon you. You don't know which company to keep. You know which sabha to find yourself in? You have a choice of satsang and willy willy. You know it's kind of willy willy. There is serve panchamrit in this satsang, and there is serve a different kind of panchamrit in the willy willy. And you have that choice, and what choice you make. And don't ever forget, kabahu kakari karunara dehi deta isha binu hetu sanehi. God give you autonomy, You could come in this world, worship Bharat or not worship Bharat. That's your choice. But the wise know that this and other texts, this is a recipe manual. If we want to know how to circumvent and hurdle challenges, these are the texts will help us to do it. But he gave us the sense of autonomy. You could choose or not choose. So likewise with company, we have that choice. You don't get involved in that. So don't blame him when trouble time comes. We refuse the recipe, and so we pay the penalty. But Shri Ramchandra says, I have heard that when you were coming, Bharat, this was the disposition, the sahaj subhav, the natural disposition of the animals. They didn't push the end to hog up Bharat. No, they came on their own. And if we watch the writings of Sant Tulsidas periodically, sporadically, he touches on points. As a human being, whether you're a Hindu or not, there are 5 yagyas we should perform before we exit this world. Now, we hear and we jump. Babs, you know how much a yagya does cost? All the food and thing. And Babs, the barber, has asked for no less than $10,000, Yeah, that must cause a lot of barbers to wince. But SVV is a liberal organization. We just talk the truth. And that's a fact. You put people under duress, and you sit on a vyas gaddi and say, that is satsang and that is yag. Yes, we expect the performer of the yag to do what they have to do, but you cannot tag it with a price, man. And so we feel constrained that not within my reach to perform a yagya. Well, there are 5 types of yagya. There is Dev yagya, like we'll get together, Baba will get together, we have Havan. And so there's narration of Katha, that's yagya, like Dev yagya. Then inside that Dev yagya, you get Rishi yagya. The clever Pundit will tell you during your recitation, maybe one day he will pull out and he says, the Pradhan Devta is Kashyap, Atri, Vasishtha, Vishwamit, Bharadwaj, Jamdagni, Gautam. And he run that on the Bedi. And he run that in the Havan Kund. That's a Rishi Yagya. Because those are the mathematicians, the sociologists, and the psychologists of this age. That's 7 names. So that's that Yagya. Then I have Bhut Yagya. What happened here? You have to tend to God's creation. You think when the dove get up in the morning, you could call Mario's and say, bring along a pizza here, a veggie? No. So if you could give a morsel, put out a little fig. Or we could feed the cows, see about God's creation, feed the fishes. If you could see about God's creation, that is a yagya. Then you have Atiti Satkar, that a worthwhile guest, a destitute person comes at your door, and genuinely so, you could give him a morsel of food, you could give him a little donation to help, whatever you can do to help, that's a yagya. And then of course you have Shrad, where we make oblations to the ancestors. We have, we call together and we perform Shrad. So these are the 5 yagyas that we ought to perform. Hence, Tulsidas Ji took the opportunity to mention here the relationship we should have with the animal kingdom. Not to hunt them and cook them, it's to take care of them and foster them. And once you're fostering and sustaining, you're in Bharat's good books. You're helping Bharat to do his work. So that when the end hour come of expiry, we might pretty well have, by that singular act, the attendance of Vishnu coming first, and not the Yamraj. As we hear, as Katha proceeds.
Jai 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 Shri Ram. Jai 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 Shri Ram. Jai 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 Shri Ram.
तात तुम्हि मैं जानवनी के करो कह असमंजस जी के जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram.
राखे राम
परिहरे प्रेम प्रणलागी
जय 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 श्री राम जय 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 श्री राम जय 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 श्री राम जय 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 श्री राम
तात तुमहि मैं जानो नीके. God says, Bharat, I know your inner disposition. Karau karahu asamanjasa jike, and I am uneasy because the intense love you have for me, I have that on one side. On the other side, Rakhe Rao Satya Mohityagi, our father Dashrath gave up his breath, literally gave up his breath. For what? The sake of his word. Tanupari Heru Prema Pranalagi. So I have my father's wishes or command that once on one side, and on the other side, I have your love. But I put it on your lap, Bharat. Now that's a heavy statement. So what is Sri Ram prepared to give up? His word of his duty to his father? To break his father's bond when we hear in Chaupai, Raghukula Riti Sadachali Ai Pranajai Paravachananajai, that the Raghu dynasty, better their breath go than their word go. Is Sri Ram, God, who is the teacher of all of us. The Maha Acharya are going to tell us, look, there are conditions and exceptions to the rule. But he trusts Bharat. Because Bharat will act on duty. And how do we know what our duties are? The duties are not cast in stone, you know. The duties are there according to the phase in life we are. And we are talking about samskars. There are 16 preferred samskars. Starting with Garbdhan Sanskar. When we're going to bring a child into this world, that's a ceremony. That's a calculated act. The father can be under the influence of white oak, blue oak, or wine color oak, and then conceive, have a child conceive. Then, you know, that is going to create problems. So that's the first sanskar. Then you have Pumsavan Sanskar. That, you know, sometimes there might be a lineage of pure boys or pure girls, and, you know, they just want a change of the situation. So there's an intervention that could be made within the first trimester of pregnancy to take care of that. Then you have Simant Sanskar. That is what Prahalad got. That Narad Muni sat down with the mother of Prahalad and had satsang from her for those 6 months. Simant Sanskar. And look what Prahalad became. Then you have Jatkaram Sanskar. Very important. As soon as the child is born, the father should be there to first introduce a mixture of ghee and honey in a sterilized piece of gold and drop that on the tongue of the child before the child nurses. That's a sanskar. And there and then, it's not only an action. Get real understanding here. You know. Hinduism is not about ritual, put this there and put that there. You know. This is riveted in principle. Because ghee is the oblations of the gods. You put that, you feed like you're feeding a god there. And the honey, Upanishads tell you, what you eat is what you become. Honey will help to sweeten the language of that child when that child grows. And, you know, my wife had shown me, she's one of my gurus too. And when I call her 9 day boy, she doesn't answer you. So Shakespeare, William Shakespeare, got that. Don't forget, India was one time under the rule of the British Empire. So certainly the traditions they understood and copied. The mighty Shakespeare got that as his first thing before he nursed. So that's and there the father now, after having done that, as the physical part, the father promises that I will be the father of this child. They have to run. You know, sometimes a couple might, you know, they might go awry. They might go their separate ways. But the father has to stand as the father. You have to go down in a court and chase him down to get maintenance for the child. That's not Hindu's tradition. So the fourth sanskar, is Jadkarma sanskar. And these are not things that we have to listen to Baba talk about these things. No, it has to be practiced. So the fifth sanskar is the naming sanskar. You don't name a child as it's born, you know. You push back. If they tell, you know, you have to read your push back. You name a child from day one as the day of birth, either the 10th, the 12th, or the 16th day, depending on the astrological factors. Then that child, that name, that child will take that name like Dr. Water. And then comes the sixth sanskar. So you had the baby in the nursing home, and you know, they discharge you, you be going along the road. No, it don't work so. Nishkram sanskar, when you take that child out into the atmosphere, right? You have to know which direction you have to go. And then, it goes on and on. I don't want to bore you to death. These are things that we have to be cognizant of. You have nishkamans, you have annaprashan sanskar, the first time child gets cereal, which is roughly 6 months and so forth. That's a sanskar. You don't just go on, Baba, the child, belly full and start to give him the cereal. No. It's a thing called vegetable, boil it up and fill up his stomach, man. You could get around those things. Because if you introduce his cereal at the 6th month, the GI system will be fully functional. When that child, if that child is challenged with GI problems. And so you'll have the annaprashan. Then you have chudaktaram. Between 2 and 3 years, you clip the hair, you crop it for the first time. It can't be done when the mother is pregnant. There's a reason for that. And then you have Vidyaram Sanskar. Choose the day to send in a child to school. Just it is a way to me. Babs, you're going in September. Listen. The Montessori and care, whether they come in September or November or January because they're getting paisana. So we're glad about that because we could bend the date to suit. So you send your child in Uttarayan. When Makar Sankranti comes, start. We have from then to mid-July to start your child in schooling. And then comes Upnayan Sanskar. When the child reaches the age, he's bestowed Janev. Brahman, Kshatriya and Vaishya bestowed Janev. Brahman is orange, Kshatriya is yellow, and Vaishya is white. Do a survey now. Sometime the other day I watched a movie, as a big Amitabh fan, and Amitabh gone in the temple and the fella have only Janev, you have on a white Janev, so I want to know who do the puja there. Our books declare that if you don't know the book, don't play trivia with the book now. And there are reasons for all of these things, the colors. So that's Upnayan Sanskar. Then you have Keshan Sanskar. When a child reaches puberty, the girl in her now starts a cycle, the boy now starts getting whiskers now. That's a Sanskar day because all of these Sanskars, you're bestowing duties. That is why Sri Ram put it on Bharat lap because Bharat was schooled and tutored and mentored and practiced the duties of each stage of life. So Sri Ram knew he's not going to fall to the whims and fancy of emotion that, brother, I want you back in Ayodhya. There will be a bigger reason for that. So Keshan Sanskar, those say, Babs, you're studying book, you're studying Facebook. That kind of book is studying. Well, if you do Keshan Sanskar, you will get these things. Listen, get your priorities right, and you have it instead. Then comes Samavartan Sanskar. Samavartan Sanskar is when you're on the threshold of marriage. You're not going through whatever training you do, and you're on the threshold of marriage. So the Baba rope you in and tell you about because on the day of the marriage, you ain't studying no vow, You rope them in and tell them what it necessitates. Because marriage is not a bond, marriage is an institution. And what needs to keep an institution going, the Baba talks to you about Samavartan Sanskar. Then comes Vivah Sanskar, the big day, you call Tasaman down the road. Then comes Agnihotra Sanskar, where you light the household of fire. There has to be, with a degree of regularity, Havan in every home. And, of course, you have the Shrautan Sanskar. So, that's a quick rundown now. All to tell us that if we follow these examples, then when crunch decisions come, we will make the informed decision because we understand what our responsibility is to not only the family, but to society. That's the level of Hinduism. We are universal in concept. It's not about religion. It's how I live with my Muslim brother, my Christian brother, and how I fit in, how I accommodate. And that is sanskar. And if someone is out of the fold of Sanatana Dharma, and Madhavacharya argued that in South Africa, he's one of the movements of the three schools of philosophy. He argued that you could be born whatever. But if you decide not to convert, but you want to embrace Hinduism, you can do it, and we pick it up whichever sanskar is applicable to your age. So Hinduism is premised on universality, not about minuscule religion. It's far beyond that. To make this place a better society. We're here in the upcoming Chaupai.
कासुवचन में तत मन सोई वेद अधिक तुम्हार संकोच का पर गुरु मोहि आयसु दीन्हा अवश्य जो कहौ छ अहु सो कीन्हा अवश्य जो कहौ छ अहु सो कीन्हा
सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम 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 सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम 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 सीता हे राम बोलो राधे श्याम बोलो सीता हे राम बोलो राधे श्याम बोलो बंसी आई हे राम 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 सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम 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 सीताराम सीताराम राधे श्याम श्याम श्याम
दासु वचन में तट मन मत सोचू तेहि ते अधिक तुम्हार संकोचू. Shri Ram says, I have put it in your lap, Bharat, because the intense love you have for me, I cannot bear your unease. Because initially, everyone thought Bharat wanted selfishly Shri Ram to return to Ayodhya because he will keep his company. That was our main ingredient. But the unease of Bharat, what is the unease of Bharat? Tapara Guru Mohi Ayasudinha, upon that Bharat, you came here with the tacit approval of your Guru, Guru Vasishtha, who is my Guru too. So there's a sort of endorsement on your mission. So, I am wondering what is my position. Avashi jo kaho chaho sokina. Whatever you say, Bharat, whatever you declare, I will accede to the request. Bharat? Achaupai says, Tata Bharat Truma Sabavidi Sadhu, Prabhu Charano me Prem Agadhu. Ram said with his own lips that Bharat is a sadhu. Because everything he does, every move Bharat makes, Prem Agadhu, it is steeped in intense love for the feet of God. And that's a sadhu. A sadhu is not, I was minded to say Joey, but we had a time. A sadhu is not your big country, and then you're balling up people here and balling up people there. No. A sadhu is one who has compassion. A sadhu who, as you say, speaks with love. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, na bruyat satyam apriya. If you talk the truth and you talk it rough up, apparently it may not be the truth. Because the truth was never meant to be discoursed in a rough manner. And this is Bharat. He says, Tina kal tribhuvan matamore, punya shloka tatavachtore, endorsement of Bharat already. Shri Ram says, if I were to take all the noble souls of the past, of the present, and the future, O Bharat, they are dwarfed before you. That is the statue of Bharat. This is God talking, incarnate God, Ramchandri, endorsing Bharat, who is a projection of Vishnu the sustainer. And if things were to go biprit, it means will Bharat move because of emotion? Or how will he handle that, Prabhu, you stay back in the forest lands? That is biprit. He came with one intention, but the other thing happened. He came to carry Ram, but Ram remains. How will Bharat handle it? And Bharat will handle it because, as we say, he's going to act on duty. Not everything in life, be difficult to separate our needs from our wants. People say, well, after 14 long years, Ravan was destroyed. And look how much pain Mother Earth, etc. had to undergo for 14 years. No, not 14, 41. Because he was 27 years when he went into the forest. You add the 14 to that, is 41. And Bharat and Lakshman and Shatrughan withstood the pressure, in inverted commas, of 41 years before there was realization of the goal, which is the destruction of Ravan. And here, 2 years pass, 3 years pass, and we're fretting about this, and we're fretting about that. Understand that these wicked people and unpleasant situations come to a certain amount of, created by a certain amount of karma. So we just have to let that run the run now. And just have that, you keep enjoying. One person once said, knowledge of the map doesn't equate the joy of the journey. You see, while we're waiting on them 2-3 years to happen, enjoy the ride. Enjoy it. There are things we can enjoy. It's not about, we want to be challenged here and be challenged there. Enjoy the ride till when redemption day comes. And to come, it will come. Balize or no balize, it will come. But you can't sit on the fence. The hottest parts of hell are reserved for those who sit on the fence. Take a stand. And the balisé or in the rising sun, don't sit on the fence there, wait to see what happens. Hell will have a space for you. I'm glad because I got a chance to go to heaven in that case. You go full of hell. You have to take a stand. Politics is life. We sit here in Satsangh. We go have a little bhojan after. You know? Thank God that, you know, the bhojan, we could have bhojan because it's within the budget now. The day may come because Ghiu is not Ghiu. Ghiu now is Mr. Ghiu. Mahashay Ghiu. You know, the day might come where we had to starve God because we can't feed him enough ghee. That's how that happened. That is politics. You know, pull her up and down the place and she don't know how to control prices. You're not encouraging, you're not fostering the wish of the nation to plant and feed the nation. You're not doing those things. So everything is politics. And so Bharat says, you know, politics may influence whatever. I have to make my effort to change it, but at the same time, I'm going to enjoy the ride. There are other things that can engage my attention. Satsang is one, while the result comes. We hear in the upcoming Duha. मन प्रसन्न करि सकुचत जी कहु करो सोयाज ओ रामा कहु करो सोयाज सत्य संध रघुवर वचन सुनि भासुति समाज सियापति मन प्रसन्न करी सकुच सत्तजी. So Sri Ram rest his case there. And now all the Sabha who were there, they became happy because here what he said, Bharat, you call the shot. And Bharat came there for the express purpose, apparently, to carry Sri Ram back to Ayodhya. So everybody happy with that. But that is selfish pleasure. Because if Sri Ram went back to Ayodhya, how will Ravan be destroyed? Another name of Ayodhya is Avadha. What means to destroy? Avadha means indestructible. And from a previous encounter Dashrath had with Ravan, he could not enter the precincts of Ayodhya. So if Ram remained in Ayodhya, how will Ravan be destroyed? So it was selfish of the Praja there to think that let me carry Sri Ram back. Then what about the Devatas? What about Prithimata? What about Indra Dev? What about Varun Devata? Vayu Devata? What about all of them? Under duress from Ravan. So, you know, it was a selfish thing. And Tulsidas comments that, you know, sometimes to understand the wiles of the master, we have to understand his finite parts. Now tell me if I'm going good day. To understand how an engine works, you have to know the piston, the plug, the points. You know? You have to understand the finite parts to conceptualize the infinite. Every day we have opportunity to do that. Right there, the Shivlingam. You know, there are five senses of perception. They call them the Gyanendriya. Seeing, smelling, tasting, touching, hearing. What about the Panch Karmendriya? The five actions of what actions we do every day, or we're supposed to be doing every day, which is there's speech. Even if there's speech, God forbid, there's sign language to communicate. There's communication. There's use of the hands, the use of the feet, the bowels, and the genitourinary system. Those are five actions that go about every day. And in those, they have devatas. Like, for instance, in the hands, if I were to take up this hand and offer a flower to God, there's Indra Dev. The Indra Dev becomes very happy because I involve him in puja. And if these hands, if they are not getting to God with a degree of regularity, then I have to see who is the propeller of that hand. And the propeller of the hand is Tat Purush, one of the five major manifestations of Bhagavan Shiva. So if we could couple and introduce in the prayer, apart from the Indraya Namaha, Om Shri Tat Purushaya Namaha, then these hands, by the blessings of Mahashiva, Mahadev, will be able to be pointed in a proper direction. And so we could go right down the gamut. The feet is Vishnu Bhagavan, the very Vishnu we talk about. And the source of that is Aghor Baba, one of the forms of Bhagavan Shiva. So, in truth and in fact, the devatas, did not tap in to that type of reasoning. Not that they didn't know, they knew, but it was emotion or governing there. So if we get the opportunity to tap into that kind of reasoning, then we might find that, we could straddle the waters of life. We go to Hanuman Baba. There's a little encounter between Garud and Hanuman Baba. A little race now. Garud challenged him. So he reached in front of Krishna Bhagwan, the wooden pole, and Garud come there struggling. And Krishna Bhagwan asked him, he says, how you get past? He said, we're talking about the Sudarshan Chakra, this Hanuman, the Sudarshan Chakra. He said, this is what you're talking about? He put it down. And then he watched at Satyabhama, and he says, Ma, I don't understand why you're in disguise, So that is Satyabhama stand up in consternation. What he tell me about? But you see, previous to that conversation, Satyabhama held Krishna Bhagwan in conversation. He says, I find in your last incarnation of Ram, you had too much attachment for Sita. How come you don't show that attachment to me? You say, well, you don't understand certain things. So what you do? She disguised as Sita and sat next to Krishna. So when Hanuman came in, so those, and this is the highest court of divinity. So all those who want to tinker with your brain, and if you feel, you're overpowered, backed into a corner because of some so-called intellect want to tell you something, and you're a Hanuman devotee, that can't happen. That on the sunrise and US can't happen if you're a sincere devotee of Hanuman, because he could perceive in the highest court of divinity. You think when they say Balbud Hividyadi Humi Haruklesh, is joke, every single word Tulsidas put in the Hanuman Chalisa is an ocean of knowledge. You're going to do a children are going to do an exam, bring in Hanuman, not only Ganesh and Saraswati, bring in Hanuman. That's the man who take you out of panic mode. So you're going in an exam, you see a question, want to throw you upside down. So you do number 1 and number 2, good. You have 5 questions, and when you do number 3, you stumble. Oh God, wow, I didn't know this, I didn't prepare this. Yes, Hanuman is the panic man. That's the panic button. You press he. You keep in touch with him regularly, not only in the morning or exam, regularly in prayer. That when you come to these tests and examinations in life, for example, you don't go into panic mode. Because when you go into panic mode, you can't be clinical in your decision. So these are the various manifestations of these deities, the finite parts of God. If we tap into, if we understand through the medium of Satsangh, etc., then like Bharat, we're not going to make an emotional decision. We hear as Katha proceeds.
Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram
Suragana Sahita Sabhaya Sura Taju Sochahi Chahat Ona Kaju Karata Upaya Banata Kachunai Rama Sharana Sabake Manamahi
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram Raghupati Raghava Raja Ram.
Suragana Sahit Sabhai Suraraju. So there's a pause in conversation. Tulsidas ji, remember he saw everything like a video, is commenting. He says that all the devatas looking on, because not only those who were guarded there, remember, the devatas stationed in their celestial regions left, and they came to watch this conversation, because this conversation could affect their destiny. So they sat there, huddled together, Socha hi chahat hona akaju. They says, this, like it ain't going good. This ain't going good to our benefit, because if Bharat decide to carry back Sri Ram all over. Karata upai banat kachunahi. Then in a tete-a-tete, in a conversation, they says, listen, after we have this discussion, what is the best plan? Rama Sharan Saba Ge Manamahi. That let's take refuge in the feet of God. in the feet of Sri Ram Chandra, and he will guide us out. And taking refuge is an easily bandied statement, but it's a statement we have to be very meticulous how we enact it, because refuge means basically food, shelter, and clothing. So we say, I take refuge at the feet of God. So Detour have a sale coming up. I choose Detour because I know somebody there. And so you go on there and you say, what discount I go buy the jersey. I go buy the Gujarat jersey. You know why Gujarat? They win tomorrow. And so we go on and we say, but I support Gujarat. So what happened? Tomorrow morning you put on the jersey. Listen, before you put on any clothing, we talk about refuge, food, shelter, and clothing. Before you put on any clothing, SVP does make it easy for you. Watch it, you go see new clothes. You don't know who hands it passed through. You don't know the maker, what thoughts, what they ate, and so forth. And you're taking those negative things and you're throwing it yourself. No, it have days for new clothes. So you have to be very meticulous. Very, very meticulous, because Kashyap, Atri, Vasisht, Vishwamitra, Bharadwaj, and Jamdagni and Gautam told us that this is what refuge is about. And you could by extension, you don't move in an office like that, you know. Because that is a shelter of some sort. You choose your time to do that. And that is, when we follow these things, this is what you mean by taking refuge, down to letter T. Because that becomes a guard, you know. The day you do a Graha Pravesh and you go into your office and so forth, no bandit come in there to point that, you know. And if you say, come in there to point that, you can't pull the trigger. I guarantee you that. Because that is a tabij, that's a guard. When you move in, when you put on a clothing, nobody is going to put a dagger in your back. It can't happen. If it does, you ain't going to be, you know, maimed or anything like that. That's just a little bit, a minuscule amount of karma paying out. So that is taking refuge. Ram Chandraji says, that is Bharat. He's in charge of refuge. Go to him, follow his injunctions, and we too use this as a recipe manual. We don't have to call on this one and call on that one, you know, because we ain't sure Gary could give you anything again. So you know how to learn how to protect yourself. And Sharanagat. Who are the great people of this world who took refuge? The entire army of Shri Ram, they took refuge at his feet. The entire army. And you know how that is expressed in your work ethic. You can't say, well, I follow Bharat, I follow Vishnu Bhagwan, I follow Ram, I follow Durga, I follow Hanuman. They have to influence your work ethic. Each of the deity have their own forte. So standing there was Shri Ram Chandra when that bridge was being built to Lanka. How long was the bridge? 100 yojan. How much is a yojan? Don't follow them foolish English translation. Tell you a yojan is 100 miles. That is Mahadutishness. Because if you measure Ashok Batika from the southern tip of India is 157 miles. So a yojan is 1.57 miles. So the bridge was 100 yojan, which is about 257 miles. Okay, that's the distance. So if you measure the 100 yojan, they take 3 days to build that. The first day they build 14 yojan. The second day 36 yojan, and the last day 50 yojan. So in 3 days they took that laborious task and put it on the map. Yes, it was a big workforce, but they work. Not like we buy you pass when they do the little waka and thing. The 5 of them sit down, 2 sign up. And I love the 2 that stamp it on the net. That is great engineering. You know, we paying for 2 men stamp it on the net, so stone ain't going to hit the car. You know? That can't be Hindu. That is not Hindu in concept. Hindus are industrious people. We follow a work ethic. Ramayana tell you 100 yojan was built in 3 days. Yes, by a big army, but every man, really bold and them jumped and went in the sea. So every man was toting and making it happen. And so we can't profess to be a devotee of Hanuman, a devotee of Krishna, a devotee of Ram, and whatever their fault is does not impact in our work ethic. And that is what taking refuge means. It's not only for self-protection, it's how we express that refuge for the benefit of our fellow man. We hear further in Chaupai.
बहुरी विचार परस्पर कहि, रघुपति भक्त भक्त वश अहि, भक्त वश अहि राम।
नायक रघुवंश राम।
सुधि करी अम्बरीश दुर्वासा, भेसुर सुरपति निपत निरासा, निपत निरासा राम।
नायक रघुवंश राम। सारंग वरदारा, नायक रघुवंश राम। नायक रघुवंश राम। नायक रघुवंश राम।
Bahuri vichar paraspara karahi. There's a major discussion going on there. Yes, we're going to take refuge, says the devatas, at the feet of Bhagwan. Raghupati Bhakta Bhakta Vasha Ahi. But we have to factor something. The taking refuge at the feet of Ram is one thing, but Ram does dance to the tune of his devotees. And they reference Sudhi Kari Ambarish Durvasa. Remember that katha? You ever do the katha with them? Or run quick. Ambarish Durvasa. Like a testament to see if I could make a mistake or what? Ambarish was a great king. He and his queen decided to do a year of Ekarasi Vrat. You know, Ekarasi, for one thing, you're not supposed to eat cereal. You know why? Because the moon got a curse, a shrap on that tithi, and that tithi deals, plants depend on a capillary action, a movement of fluid up. So, like rice is dependent on, you have to spread in massive water. So crops that go like that, you try to avoid them. That's what. So they prepared a 1 year vrat they do for Ekarasi. When it came to the last day, now there's a certain time to break that vrat. Durvasa Maharaj come with his retinue of Chela. Durvasa, they say he temper, he blood close to his skin. So when Ambarish says, oh, well, I have a Brahmin here, I am blessed. Come have a morsel, come have a bit of food. He says, let me go and shower first. Now Durvasa had a likeness. He was always amazed with water. So he overstayed time. This time Ambarish waiting to break his vrat. He's hungry. So his guru tell him, well, listen, you could break your vrat. Here among to eat, because Durvasa might get a little ill-tempered. Take a tulsi leaf and break your vrat. So he did that. When Durvasa returned, he was mad, he was infuriated. That tulsi leaf or no tulsi leaf, you show no respect me, you eat before I come. And he plucked a hair from his head, that is Durvasa, created a demoness, and said, that will destroy you. Ambarish, who was doing that Ekarasi vrat with Vishnu as a pivotal deity, Vishnu Bhagwan, the same Bharat, Vishnu's Bharat, sent his Sudarshan Chakra, and he destroyed the demoness and chased Durvasa. And when Durvasa went to all about, and he could not, nobody was willing to give him refuge, he begged and he says, what can I do to atone? And Vishnu Bhagavan, go back to Ambarish and seek out his forgiveness. So God does listen to those who are his followers, like Vishnu listened to Ambarish. And not even Durvasa could get in the middle of that. So the devatas are saying, well, it's not only about getting to Ram. Get to the feet of Bharat. Ramayana is a book of definitions. And I give quickly 2 further references. The power of Bharat. Soi gosai jo vidhi gati chekhi sakai gutari tek jo teki yoga ku yoga jnana jnana jahan ram par prem par dhana
जय जय सीताराम राधे श्याम राजा राम कैसे जिंदगी जीतेगा बिना राम जय जय सीताराम राधे श्याम राजा राम कैसे जिंदगी जीतेगा बिना राम
गोसाई जो विधि गति छेगी सकै को तारी टेक जो टेगी योग कुयोग ज्ञान अज्ञान जहन राम पर प्रेम प्रधाना
जय जय सीताराम राधेश्याम राजा राम कैसे जिंदगी जीतेगा बिना राम जय जय सीताराम राधेश्याम राजा राम कैसे जिंदगी जीतेगा बिना राम.
How many times you have heard, boy, it had to happen so. This have to happen so. I must get the no, it don't have to happen. Bharat was one. Soi gosai jo vidhi kati cheki sakai kotari take jo teki. Bharat is one who made that pronouncement in Ramayana and said that nothing is cast in stone. You go with intense love to the feet of Bhagwan Shri Ram Chandra. He is going to rewrite history. The reason why I didn't quote Hasibode Raghuvansh Kumara. Right? So he goes, so Bharat made that pronouncement in Ramayana. So have faith. You might be backed in the corner medically. You might be backed in the corner in your work environment. You might be backed in the corner because of banditry and those marauding buccaneers that we call followers of the current regime. You feel you're backed into a corner. That is not cast in stone. But, tighten the diet now. And then come and talk to Baba now. And talk to your Baba, they will go fix it. But tighten the diet. You ask for 108 people. Swami, you have how much? 6? Yeah, we only have about 102 more again. You ask for 100 people to stand up, man up. And your diet in order. I mean for just a little bit. Your diet in order across the board. And we pong somehow on. Yes, we go fix all that. So Bharat says nothing is cast in stone, but it's not a cakewalk. You can't undo dusty by, simple maneuvers. It's got to be very, very profound, very proactive in your undertakings. Bharat told you all that. So have hope. No matter where you're backed into what corner, have hope. Bharat says that. And Bharat says, in having that hope, yoga, jnana, jnana. Yoga is a great thing. But that yoga becomes kuyog, that becomes irrelevant, of no benefit. And jnana, you become spiritually wise, it becomes of no use. Why? Jahana Rama para prem pradhana. If you don't have Ram as the pivotal mover of your yoga and your gyan, then it becomes, nishpal, fruitless, as it were. That is the Bharat we are talking about. That is the Bharat who, if, there are big Ekadasis, there is one coming up on the 31st of May. That is Wednesday. Nirjal Ekadasi. Good Ekadasi to observe. I'll give you our next one. In the month of Ashad, in the Shukla Paksh, the Tithi of the Shukla Paksh of Ashad, it is known as Pap Nachini Ekadasi. Means it will destroy the wages of the sinful acts that we commit. Observe it. 29th of June. Observe it. The power of Vishnu Bhagwan. We hear further in Chaupai.
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Shankar Ram Shri Ram Jai Ram Shankar Ram
Sahe Suranha Bahu Kala Vishada
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram
Narahari Kiye Pragata Prahalada Lagi Kanaka Ahi Tuni Matha Abasur ka jab rat ke aatha.
Jai Ram Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri
banter. You say, okay, I'm victorious, and then you're going back into the pits of depression. It happened among the devatas. Sahe suranha bahu kal vishara narahari kiye pragat prahalada. They say, but you know, when God has to come as Narasim to save Prahalad, it was such a long time. And lagi lagi kan kahai dhuni mata, they all beat their head as they talk to each other. Aba Surarakaj Bharat ke hata. They said, no, come back on track, come back on track. Get to the feet of Bharat. In life, when we talk about enjoying, there are three states of delight. There is pleasure. Pleasure, as we know, is an interval between two planes. You know? So what? So Sukadham Ram Asanama. That you get happiness, you get joy. There was Ram going to be enthroned king of Ayodhya. Next, you know, he had to volunteer himself into exile. So there's pleasure, there's pain, then there's pleasure. He's re-enthroned in Ayodhya after the destroyer. Then there's pain, the abandonment of Sita Mata. So that is pleasure, where, you know, there's a roller coaster situation. Then there's joy. Joy is an experience between two parties. So Shiva Baba was asked by Parvati to narrate Ramayana. He says, Magana Dhyana Rasadanda Yuga Punimana Baharakina Raghupati Charita Maheshaba Harshita Varneli. That's Harsh. Joy is the second state of delight. So you have pleasure, you have joy, where, you know, there's a nice interchange between two parties. And then you have happiness. So Skadam Rama Asnama. He who is the ocean of happiness, that is Ram Chandraji. In happiness, where you find God? You don't find God up there, you know. God has been in the trenches, answering the calls of people who love him. And so, it's a no palace, you know. If you want to be next to Sri Ramchandra, get into the trenches, because that is where he is. And if you could say, Prabhu, holiday, I go take care of this one, better yet. And that is very happiness. The happiness is not the physical ambience you're in, you know. The happiness that you have raised, you have inspired, you have raised the stature of someone who was down in pits of depression and destitution. You have done that. And that is happiness. So those are the three states of delight. And this is what we mean, or Tulsidas means that in waiting for it to happen, for redemption to happen, in simple language, right? It'll, you know, enjoy the ride. Make concerted efforts to make it happen, but enjoy the ride. Don't only beat up your head and so forth. Enjoy the ride. But one has to be sincere. Don't do like the fellow who was selling melon, you know. You come to the end of the day now, and he decided he was a little tired. He had one melon remain. So you see a Prado pull up. I know about cars, you know. I have a Red Indian car. It does only give smoke signal. So the car pull up. He said, ah, boy, business fix. My last melon going. So if I come out, he said, give me the biggest melon you have there. You take it out, you put it in his scale. He said, how much it weigh? He said, 8 pounds. He said, nah. So as you go to the bunks, he said, wait, I have one more. So he take out the same, he put it down, take out the same melon. But you know how they're doing it? They touch the scale now. So he said, weigh 10 pounds. He said, give me 2. Yeah. You see why I tend to go down a crooked path? You know, because the man upstairs will hook you up in your own karma. It's not God hook you up, you know. It's you hook up yourself. So in this journey that we have to enjoy, don't come with la karpechna. Come straight up. We're here in the Chaupai.
शील राम वश करत ही सीता।
So at last the discussion culminated in a fruitful end. They decided, listen, ana upayana dekhiya deva. There's no other method or plan to have our purpose well served. And that is manata Ram suseva seva. Serve the servant of Ram, which is Bharat in this case. Here supreme sumirahu sabab bharatahi nijaguna shil Rama vashakaratahi. And a little inkling, an iota of yet again Bharat's qualities is given here. You know, there are 6 qualities that we should all inculcate if you want to pass as a human being. We did that time and time again in Satsangh. For the benefit who may not have been there, you're talking about sama, which is restraint. Sama meaning keeping balance in a situation, you know, keeping composure. Dhamma is a bit of self-restraint. Titiksha, which is forbearance. Shraddha, which is faith. Samadhan, somewhere along the line, connect to God. But a pakshapat, or as always know, uprati, learn to be impartial. Don't take sides in an argument. Listen to both sides and then make a pronouncement. You know, you'll be sent children to school. The teacher hit him 2 tap. Well, I think they ban corporal punishment now. You know, I don't know why. But, so, you know, he come home and, you know, he complain to mommy and mommy going in there with puya and etc., etc. And you know where they get the puya from? From the minister of puya. And, you know, you're going in there with ignorance. You hear two sides. You hear what we complain about. So that is animal behavior. So it's all these 6 put together, not part-time, put together, makes us the big tipper box that we are human beings. And in so doing, the heart can't be literal. Too many times we are literal in translation. You have to understand the intention of these injunctions, like the 6 qualities. You know, one time, an engineer and a doctor like a little female now, you know. So they want to outdo each other. So every day, the doctor today bring a necklace, next day bring an earring, he bring a nice shalwar, a garara. So every big night he brings something. Mr. Engineer, every day he bring an apple. So even by Guru, he said, Guru, give me a mantra now. The Guru said, let me follow what's going on here. So he said, why are you giving an apple every day? He said, because I hear apple a day keeps the doctor away. You know? Don't take the writings. Too many times we take the writings literal. It's figurative. The book is written in parables. And so Bharat had his epitome of all those 6 qualities. We hear in the final Doha.
Suni sura mata sura guru kahiu phal tumhara parbha sakala sumangala mula jagat bharat charana anurag siyapati
At this point in time, the Guru of the gods, Brihaspati, chimed in. So this is endorsement. And what did he say? Bharata Charan Anurag. Develop the love for the feet of Bharat. Understand, delve into the lifestyle of Bharat and make it part and parcel of how we operate, how we go about things. And if we do it to the hilt, then definitely life, destiny, our destiny, if it's have a bit of negativity in it, will be overridden by the grace of Shri Ram Chandra, who has that immense love for Bharat. You know, once in a forest, 3 trees, they were close to each other. And from time to time, they would have conversations. And then they became, you know, down-spirited because they saw a contractor moving. And he was beginning, they didn't lumberjack, and now they have equipment, start to cut down tree from a side. So they realized the end coming near. So their final conversation began like this. They said, one asked the other one, he said, what do you want to become? He said, well, I wish when I come back, I could be the transport of God. Right? Now he used to operate like this. When rains fall, the plants supposed to increase their foliage, their leaves. And as we explained earlier, you'll have respiration increasing. And respiration is supply of oxygen, which is for man's benefit, man and animal benefit. So that was his lot. They asked his second, what do you want to become? He said, well, I don't mind being part of God's furniture, His lifestyle was this, that he used to have his xylem and he flew and busy. In other words, any little smattering of rain is transporting up. So he worked. And so he increased his foliage, produced more oxygen for the benefit of mankind. They asked the last three, what do you want to become? He said, well, I want to touch God. His lifestyle was this. Apart from taking any little bit of rain and carrying it up and down his trunk, you have little roots that will come out. He used to make sure that the roots in operation, that every little element that is beneficial for foliage, like cobalt, will be taken up. So he said, what do you want to come to touch God's feet? But it's tree. God don't wear, that. So they, laugh at them. They usually laugh at people who are deep in their love for God. People usually laugh at them. So the trees were cut down. As destiny would have it, when Shri Ram was about to cross the Ganga with Kevat, moving from one bank to the other, that particular pirogue came from the tree that said he wanted to be the transport of God. It was for a little while, but then his life's action was also very frugal. Now, he wasn't going too much out. He produced foliage and so forth. So he get a little snippet of his dream. The second one, when Shri Ram Chandraji was enthroned king, the throne that he sat on had adjustments that was made from the timber of the tree, which declared that, he wants to be in God's furniture. So yes, but as we just established, Shri Ram was not perpetually on the throne. He was out there ministering all his duties and so forth. But he was there for a while. And the third tree, who said he wanted to touch God's feet, a cobbler took the timber from that tree and made a crow. It's a crow? A wooden sappat. And it is that sappat that Shri Ram wore. And it is that sappat that Bharat took and put on the asan that sustained him for 14 long years. So, and that particular tree had made concerted efforts to produce more oxygen for the benefit of all mankind. So too, if we make concerted efforts to involve ourselves in actions that is for the benefit of mankind. Yes, see about family, but part of the action should be for the benefit of mankind. Perhaps we might have that goal which the highly developed rishis and munis hanker after, which is to have the sparsh or the touch or the feet of God. Ek baar bolo Siyawar Ramachandra ki. I thank you for being an attentive audience. Once again, it really touches me that so many of you all turned out to have this celebration. It was a surprise. I didn't realize I was reading for myself. But so what, all in good stead. I thank you. Please stay on for a little bhojan. And we'll just close with invocation. But before I so do, Chief, I really can have you come here. This is and say 2 words. Give me 2 words self now. I'll tell you all something, and you all know me a long time. When I tell you I associate with someone, it is because that someone has to be a person of integrity. You may not know your MP that well, but trust me. This is a man of integrity. He's not only an MP, to me, he's more than that, and he is more than that. He's the chairman of the government in waiting.
Sit down, everyone. बोलिए पवन पुत्र हनुमान की. Reverend Guru, I want to be very, very short tonight. Tonight I have the opportunity to wish a gentleman who has been a mentor, a guru, a true guru, such a guru to me. I have not known him for a very, very long time, but I feel like I've known him forever. All of you here tonight know exactly how I feel. Not so? I feel very emotional because I believe I had a rough day today. Today we went and we celebrated Indian Arrival Day. Today it started very early, we went through the rain and so on. But the lesson I learned from all of that is if you do what you have to do, God gives you the opportunity to do what you need to do. Today I had the opportunity to come and learn again many, many, many lessons tonight from the feet of this noble soul. And I want to use this opportunity to thank you, but to wish you as well happiness, prosperity, bliss, continued strength, so that you can continue to bless us. And my message tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is if you continue to work hard, if you continue to do as much as you can to serve humanity, as Guru is doing, as he's telling us to do, you'll see a way, you know. But you need to unite to get that done. Just like with the building of the bridges. Just like with the building of the bridge. Remember what Guru said? It took many, many arms to bring many, many stones to build a bridge in 3 days. If we unite, we can accomplish anything. And I'm very happy tonight to unite with you all to wish Guru a very, very happy birthday. Jai Hind. Happy birthday, Guruji. Happy, 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 happy birthday. Bole Pavan Putra Hanuman ki. Thank you very much.
And now, I'll call my best friend because a lot of people put effort here. My best friend will come and say a few words of thanks. She's also my wife, eh?
Sitaram, I promise not to be long because we don't want to keep back everybody from dinner. I have to first thank the South section of the class. We do classes in both North and South. And they started up this whole idea of what we're doing for his birthday. And I said, well, he's simple and we'll probably do something simple. He said, no, well, we want to do something. So then it started off with that. Then they said, well, we'll just do it maybe in the temple. We'll do some singing. All right? So I said, well, no, he will like Satsangh. Well, who will read? I said, well. So I said, I will sort out the reader. You don't worry. And I knew I was going to ask him and he couldn't say no because, let me say, almost 37 years ago, both of us sitting on a bedi. I am on one side, he's on one side. And the Guru rocked back and said, Vish, you know what to do. So he was doing his own wedding. So I figured he could read for his own birthday. I don't know about you, right? So happy birthday. And I know you read for yourself as well. So I want to thank the South class. I want to thank Nar for offering his temple. Everybody who has come here and participated, because without all of you, this wouldn't be a celebration. So I just want to thank everybody. Okay? And Sitaram.
So we'll just do a closing invocation, and that's a wrap. And we'll have a bhajan while we, getting ready to eat and sport. Om Raksha Raksha Mahadeva Raksha Raksha Janardhanam Rakshantu Devata Sarve Brahma Vishnu Maheshwaram. Om Tumeva Mata Chapita Tumeva Tumeva Bandhuscha Sakha Tumeva Vidya Dravinam Tumeva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bole Shri Gajanan Swami ki jai. Bole Shri Saraswati Mata ki jai. Bole Shri Guru Maharaj ki jai. Umapati Mahadev ki jai. Pawan Putra Hanuman ki jai. Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki jai. Bole Shri Bharat Maharaj ki jai. Siyar Ramachandra ki jai.
कृष्ण नाम प्यारा प्यारा जो न भूले कृष्णा कृष्णा जग में ओ हारा हारा मन का मिति अनियारा बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण मन का मिति अनियारा बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 जिसको मिले ना पीरा सुख का मन क्या जाने जो न ध्याए कृष्णा कृष्णा नित का धर्म क्या माने जिसको मिले ना पीरा सुख ना मन क्या जाने जो न ध्याए कृष्णा कृष्णा नित का धर्म क्या माने चाहे अगर जियारा बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण चाहे अगर जियारा बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 जो तुम्हें गाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा जो तुम्हें गाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे छोड़ने भटकना दर दर दौड़ने अहंका अंधेरा भूल जा जगत का वैभव जग है दुखों का अंधेरा छोड़ने भटकना दर दर दौड़ने अहंका अंधेरा भूल जा जगत का वैभव जग है दुखों का अंधेरा फिरता है मारा मारा बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण फिरता है मारा मारा बोल कृष्ण कृष्ण सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 जो तुम्हें गाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा जो तुम्हें गाना चाहे जीवन की तृष्णा सुबह शाम बोल बंदे कृष्ण 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 We're going to do the conventional English version because that's what I speak. Oh, yeah. Well, anybody who wants to sing? Right, there you go.
Want to, can I have your attention for 1 minute, please? Before we Can I have your attention for 1 minute, please? Thank you. Before we move on to having bhojan and so on, like we said earlier, we're celebrating Guruji's birthday today, and I am sure that that on behalf of everyone, Guruji, we'd like to wish you a happy, happy birthday, and may Bhagavan continue to show us choices and most divine blessings upon you. Let's give Guruji a big round of applause. You know they say all birthdays must have cake. So we'll have the cake cutting ceremony at this point, and we'll ask the Kirtan group to do a birthday song. Let's all join along in singing happy birthday.
Check one.
बार दिन ये आए, बार बार दिन ये गाए, तुझे हजारों साल है मेरी है आरज़ू. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to our Guruji, happy birthday to you. बार बार दिन ये आए, बार बार दिन ये गाए, तुझे हजारों साल है मेरी है आरज़ू. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to Guruji, happy birthday to you. बेकरार हो के दामन तामलूम किसका, क्या मिसाल दूं मैं तेरी नामलूम किसका. नहीं नहीं ऐसा हंसी कोई नहीं है, इस पे यार नाजुक जाए, बेमिसाल जो कहलाए, तुझे हजारों साल है मेरी है आरज़ू. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to Guruji, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Guruji.